For those of us who've been waiting very patiently for Gotham Knights to be released, the end of summer seems like a distant dream, but it's almost time to pick up all the broken pieces of a life without Batman. Are you ready for October 25th, 2022? Maybe we should take another look at the 8 DC villains fans are hoping to see in Gotham Knights. Let's go. Let's kick things off with Two-Face. Who better to bring in some good old-fashioned division and tension than Harvey Dent, also known as none other than Two-Face. Once Gotham City's most amiable and courteous district attorney and a powerful ally of Batman, now a criminal mastermind who is obsessed with duality, the number 2, and one of Batman's greatest enemies. With the Penguin already confirmed to appear in Gotham Knights, Two-Face would be a great addition to the villains in Gotham Knights. He's guaranteed to create chaos through setting people up against each other and will want to reduce the remaining 4 Bat members in half just out of principle. Dent would add to the existing enemy factions by providing even more enemies at the same time, showing the gamer how important every single member of the Bat family really is, if they want to save Gotham from falling into chaos. Maybe not a very surprising choice for a villain, but one with a lot of untapped potential that could be a real problem for the player. Now we have Bane. Bane breaking Batman's back in Batman Nightfall has been regarded as canon for many years now. So wouldn't it be a chilling idea to have Bane of all villains run Batman's city into chaos yet again? Because fans know that Bane is no fool, and has done so several times before. And with the help of a Venom supply running rampant in Gotham, the Knights would be in for a stronger foe than they bargained for. With Batman dead, players could be in for a much more brutal boss fight than you might be anticipating when it comes to Bane himself. And if we do have to go up against him, it's very likely that the full potential of our 4 remaining Gotham Knights will have to be utilized in order to gain the upper hand over Bane himself. You don't get to be called the Breaker of Bats for no reason. This isn't one to take on too lightly, and having to go up against someone like Bane, knowing it's impossible for Batman to come and save the day this time around, it's pretty intense, don't you think? And now the GCPD. With not just Batman dead, but Gordon as well, it wouldn't be a surprise to see the Gotham City Police Department return to their familiar and corrupt ways. The department has always had a well-deserved reputation for being extraordinarily brutal and corrupt, and their relationship with Batman has always varied, depending on the contemporary political situation. Over the course of Batman's vigilante career, they've both been heavily opposed and stubbornly supported him. But having the police be enemies and not friends at a time like this would put extra pressure on the Bat family and make them feel the loss of their mentor even more intensely. It would kick off the ripple effect that Batman's death has on literally his entire city. Even with the Gotham Knights scrambling to attempt to stop Gotham from falling into ruin, we say that just makes sense, don't you think? Next up, Poison Ivy. Having Poison Ivy plunge Gotham City into a deadly jungle would be a sight to see. The alter ego of Dr. Pamela Lillian Isley can be counted upon to create chaos in a very controversial way, only halfway explained by her morally subject views on the world, because she's nature and everything she does is for nature. And nothing, certainly not some evil humans, is going to stop her from saving that very thing she herself is, nature. And to see the physical destruction of all the mutated flora and fauna in the streets and buildings would be horrible, but beautiful at the same time, at least for the gamer. Fans are absolutely curious to see what Poison Ivy could do, as she would definitely make for a very interesting enemy. And just imagine how satisfying it will be to defeat her and the city return to normal again. The cinematics could be breathtaking, and the journey of our 4 remaining Gotham Knights would feel as important as it ultimately is. Would you like to go up against her? Hold up, where do you think you're going? We've got many more possible Gotham Knights villains coming up. There's someone who could offer the perfect complementary gameplay to Nightwing. Can you guess who it is? And what reason could there be for the Gotham Knights to go underground? And then there's the villain who would make it not just possible, but extremely necessary to bring in another underrated fan favorite. Who do you think it is? But closing the list of villains, there may be an unexpected curveball. Don't you want to find out who it is? Hang around till the end of the video and we'll tell you all about it. First up, Deathstroke the Terminator. With Batman out of the way, nothing is standing in Deathstroke's way to do as he pleases. And who's to say that isn't exactly what he'll be doing? The city is officially open for way too easy business. If you were to ask Slade Wilson and all he has to do is keep the contracts at the ready, though the elite mercenary has had multiple run-ins with Batman and the extended Bat family, Slade Wilson has never truly been opposite him, making him a pretty covert enemy. By adding Deathstroke as an active villain that opposed the Gotham Knights, a completely new threat is added. Leaving the Gotham Knights without any kind of map to know how to deal with the situation, it allows for more than enough room to offer characters moments of character growth, maybe even pushing some of their story arcs forward out of the pure tension that arises from new situations. And not to mention how Deathstroke has a strong history with characters like Nightwing, and it would be amazing to see some of that adapted into the game, preferably something that will complement Nightwing's gameplay. Or are we asking too much with that? Either way, Deathstroke's boss fight would be very intense and show the gamer that not all villains are brainless kill machines. Following the Killer Croc. Gotham Knights needs more horror? What about adding a little bit of a sewer nightmare into the game? Of course, the Court of Owls will always be there, but bringing in Killer Croc would be the perfect excuse to explore beneath the pavement. The possibilities could be as endless as those up above, except it would be a whole lot creepier and claustrophobic. Who remembers Batman Arkham Asylum? Those terrifying segments in Croc's Arkham Lair, anyone? We can only imagine the horror if they were to replicate that feeling and then blow it up and make it pervasive. As you can see, there are more than enough elements to Killer Croc to make it really hard for the Gotham Knights to regain control over their beloved city. And now, David Kane. The biggest reason most fans have a very intense desire for David Kane is to make a prominent appearance is the wish to one day see Cassandra Cain in a Batman game. In case you didn't know, Cassandra Cain is actually Batgirl, an extremely underrated character for some reason hasn't found her way into a Batman game, despite generally being regarded as stronger and even better than Batman in the comics, which probably has something to do with the fact that David Kane, a master assassin and former mentor of Bruce Wayne, is her father, and if David Kane is the one who trained the mentor of the Gotham Knights, they probably won't be very excited if the very same David Kane rises up and sprinkles salt in their wounds by taking over Gotham. And we'll get Batgirl in a Batman game. What more can we wish for? And last but not least, the Condiment King. Or they go on a completely different way and we'll be confronted with the Condiment King. He may have served as comic relief in most cases. Is it really that funny that all he did was anger the Joker a little, for which he was tortured and brainwashed into believing he's a ridiculous supervillain as vengeance? There is something horrible to the origin story of the Condiment King, something that could certainly be used to extrapolate into something even more horrendous. But it's more likely that the Condiment King will do exactly what he was brought into existence for: bring some much needed silly comic relief. Batman is dead, but at least the Condiment King is still thriving, right? Even if we fully understand why Gotham is in mourning, as we are as well, the game would feel a little monotonous if there wasn't a splash of mustard here and there, don't you think? That's why we believe the Condiment King will, at the very least, be sprinkled throughout Gotham Knights. Do you agree? And that's all for now. Which of these villains would you like to see in the upcoming Gotham Knights? Or did you have someone else in mind? Let us know in the comments what you think and why. And thanks for watching.